Hello, fabulous Cancer. Welcome to your horoscope for the month of July 2014, General Focus. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. I am going to invite you to consider, as you're hearing this horoscope, what was, and reflecting on what was taking place in your life at the very beginning of June, just a month ago. Around that time, or at that time, Mercury began to go backwards at the very early phases of your sign, the early days of your sign, if you will, or rather what astrologers call the early degrees of your sign. And that is the exact position that Mercury will return to around July 17th. And that is a day that you really want to circle on your calendar, put a star on it, give it a little bit of a buffer of a few days on either side. But really the themes that came up for you at the very beginning of June are likely to find an important resolution, an important point of clarity for you right around the middle of July. And so whatever considerations, new ideas, new plans seem to come up for you at that time, it looks like what likely happened was, as these ideas came up, very quickly the energy turned inward. And as I spoke about in last month's horoscopes, you had to kind of iron out some details, figure out some things happening on energetic levels. And as we get you to the middle of July, you are starting to step into yourself again with a new understanding as to who you are and what it is ultimately that really matters to you and what matters to you most. With Mercury's return to the exact place that he was at when he went retrograde in your sign represents a moment of understanding, of clarity. It is the proverbial, as it said, aha moment. It is that moment when a lot of things seem to come together for you and you are now able to go forward with clarity and understanding as to who you are and what it is ultimately that you really want. Now, I say this, and I'm going to advise you, you want to watch the love-focused horoscope because it does look like that is going to be a major way in which a lot of these understandings are going to play out in the element or in the realm of love and partnership. However, for you now, I do think that there is an element here also playing out for you that has to do with you understanding just what it is ultimately that you deserve and what it is ultimately that you want and what it is ultimately that you're going for and what it's going to take. I say this because you're going to have Venus moving through your sign, and Venus will be speaking with other power players as she moves through your sign. But notably, we'll be speaking with Uranus in the late part of the month. And when she speaks with Uranus, Uranus right now and over the course of this decade is in a part of the sky for you that has to do with how high it is you wish to go in life. It has to do with your career, your larger aims, and where it is that you hope to leave a legacy. And so for a lot of Cancerians out there, there have been a lot of changes on the career front, understanding what it is that you want, what you're going for, what really matters, aligning your career with a higher vision, aligning your career with who you've become rather than holding on to something that represents who you were. And where it is that who you were, or rather what it is that you've always wanted, is something that's been very close to your heart. This has also been a time when you've come to understand more deeply the importance of it to your own path to stay on that path. And so there have been a lot of changes taking place. However, Venus moving through your sign, speaking with Uranus, does suggest to me that you are wondering if you've got what it takes. If you actually have the ability to attract, on the one hand, attract what it is that you want, but also Venus, when Venus moves through your sign, she's saying, or she's inviting you to take on the lesson of understanding that you are worthy of receiving love, receiving nice things, receiving a better life, whatever it is that you desire, whatever you think represents better than what you have, you are worthy of that. And when she speaks with Uranus in this way, you are invited to really allow any changes to take place on a very deep level to incorporate that learning much more deeply. But also you invite experiences that really bring this lesson home for you in some important ways. And in particular, I do think that given that Uranus is in a part of the sky that not only rules career, but also rules people in authority, power players as well, people who represent where it is ultimately you want to go, people who can actually pull you up the ladder or help you along those steps in the ladder, people in whether it's supervisory roles or whether it's people who've already achieved what it is that you desire to achieve. And when Venus comes along and has this type of conversation, you are invited to think about how you're going to interact with these people. What are your expectations of these people? If they're reasonable on the one hand, but also on the other hand, do you really believe that you're worthy of being equal along them side by side? All these issues come up for you, and all these issues are really getting the blessing ultimately of helping you to move towards a greater path of greater achievement and greater success as well. As I said, ultimately this month is deeply personal, deeply connected to heart, deeply connected to relationships and love as well. However, there is a strong focus at the same time, especially as you progress towards the later part of the month, on career and on finances. The financial part in particular, you can watch your Jupiter special. That is a lesson, and that Jupiter special that applies for the coming year. Really, the themes I talk about in that video are themes that are going to kick into high gear as you get towards the end of the month. So this whole idea of career advancement, of deserving to receive, and financial advancement, all very intimately connected at this time. The universe is trying to move you towards understanding that you deserve more than maybe you've been asking for before. And as a result, you are moving towards greater prosperity as well. Thank you for watching. It'll be a great month. Be fabulous and enjoy.